Well, it's certainly a wonderful opportunity. Speaking of which, Darryl tells me that you have some ideas about the novel.
Right. Offhand, I don't see any need to change the structure. Just open it up a little.
Open it up?
Sure, liven it up. Like the part where the two guys go over the cliff when the brakes fail. I think if we made it a car chase, the audience would get into it more.
What else do you have in mind?
I thought we'd add the usual ingredients, a steamy romance, another car chase, maybe 2 or 3 more murders. Oh, and we have to change the ending. Nobody's going to believe that the killer was the victim's own brother.
Mr. Cavashaw, this novel is based on a true story. You can't go around changing the ending.
Why not?
Because that's not the way it was in the book.
Absolutely, that's my point. If the killer in the book is the same one as the killer in the movie, who's going to pay $5 to go see the movie? They already know the ending. So we give them a new killer, make it a surprise. You see? It makes perfect sense.
Hello, everybody. This is Sean.
And this is... Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Sean's being a goof before he started hit recording, and I'm laughing at that. But this is Steve.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Specifically, I was doing the countdown before recording. A 3.
You were doing it in your George Takei voice. So
well, I wanted to do the owl from the Tootsie Roll Pop commercial, but then it just sort of morphed into George Takei. 3, a 2, a 1. Oh my! Okay, Murder, She Wrote. Yeah, we're going to talk about from season 8. Wait, 9, 8, yeah. Episode 8. This is episode 8. Season 8.
No, season 8, episode 13.
Okay, yeah. And this is episode 8 of our
podcast. These podcasts go downhill. Yeah. I mean, we're already starting at a low point.
Yeah, and it's
oh boy,
the name of the episode, just to put more clarity on it, is Incident in Lot 7. Okay, so right. So
another let's promote Universal Studios episode. I mean, I say that not because of Murder, She Wrote, but specifically Columbo. And I think Columbo is going to get brought up a lot. I know we say that every episode, it seems like.
No, but actually...
There were a lot of Columbo episodes that take place on Universal City Studios.
That's true.
I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but I like the one with William Shatner, where he's LeSueur. He's an actor that plays a character called Inspector LeSueur. What was the other one?
There was also Murder, Smoke, and Shadows with Fisher Stevens as basically the Steven Spielberg director.
Yes, that's right. I think that set shows up in tonight's discussion.
I think you're right.
We're going to discuss.
There was Requiem for a Falling Star, where we had the aging actress that lived on the lot, and her dead husband was buried in the back with the fountain. There may have been 1 or 2 more. I can't remember them right off the top of my head, though. So.
I feel like Jaws showed up at least twice in Columbo. Is that?
Yes, it did. It showed up. Yes, okay. That's right. There was the one with Scottish guy. The one where he plays the composer for movies. What's that guy? The name of the character is Finley Crawley. Finley Crawford? It was one of his... Billy Connolly, that's his name. Yeah. Jaws came up in that, too. Remember where he's got the orchestra, and they're playing music from different movies, and Columbo's trying to guess the movies, and when they play Jaws, Columbo's going, "Oh, the fish, the fish, the fish!" I'm like, you fucking idiot. It's Jaws. Come on. Everybody and their mother knows the music from Jaws. Like that.
I feel like, now both of these shows, Murder, She Wrote and Columbo, were produced by NBC. Mm-hmm. And so I find it funny that it seems like Universal Studios comes up quite a bit, and I sometimes wonder if they're like, okay, well, we need to really promote Universal a little bit, so people will visit the parks and the studio tours and stuff like that. So we need to promote something, like in case with Jaws, like, oh, let's promote the Jaws ride. And in this case, I feel like they're wanting us to go see the Psycho house.
Okay, I'll get into that. But there's another episode of Murder, She Wrote that is like total lip service to the show Friends. And I think the episode title is Murder Among Friends, but it's basically, the show is Friends. Okay, there's a TV show, and it's Friends, but it's not Friends.
Pushing Up Roses discusses that one.
Yeah, and it's just So Psycho. So I have to bring up.
And I would say this. So I like to mention who like the big stars are that are appearing in these episodes before we start. But in this case, it's the Psycho House. That's the big star of this episode. That's it.
And there was only one. Normally, like, I recognize most of the actors from something. I'll be like, oh, wait, let's see what he was in. Oh, yeah, that was the guy from that episode of Columbo or from that movie. There was only one actor in this that I recognized, and we'll get into that.
Okay.
But I do want to bring up, as soon as I saw the opening credits, every season they change the montage that they show of Jessica. You know, she's riding her bike, she's doing gardening, she's in a greenhouse reenacting. Well, apparently at some point in the show, in this season, maybe at the beginning of the season or the end of the previous season, she moves from Cabot Cove to New York City. And
what?
yes, because there's little clips of her like crossing the street in New York City carrying a paper grocery bag, you know. And
was that in tonight's episode?
That was not mentioned in the episode, but because this episode takes place in L.A. in Hollywood. But yeah,
the opening credits, did it have that specific scene?
It did. They showed her. There was a couple clips of her.
I've been hitting the skip intros option on Peacock.
Oh, see, you gotta watch them.
Why I missed it?
They change them, and you know, at one point, she's not using a typewriter anymore. She's using a word processor or a computer. And I always thought that a great name for a Murder, She Wrote episode would be Arnold Raced Out of the Door, because that is the only line that I can read when she's typing. Like, I've always wanted to know, what is she typing? I want to see the whole story. Arnold raced out of the door. That's the only thing that I see.
They never do that. I've wondered that if we ever get to see that. Yeah, Arnold.
Yeah. Ever since that's me as a kid watching the show. Arnold raced out of the door. I wonder if that's. Wow, is that a yeah? Anyway,
this has a lot of Easter eggs. So Jessica shows up on the Universal Studios lot. Apparently, her book, Messenger of Midnight, is going to be made into a feature film.
Right.
And so they bring her on the lot, I guess, to discuss and meet the star and whatever. I don't know why she's there. We get it. We get an Easter egg almost immediately, and it's because the movie Psycho is featured predominantly in this. So we see a guy who, about the same body type of Alfred Hitchcock, walks across the street, you know, just doing his Alfred, I guess his best impersonation of Alfred. But yeah. It was on the nose, though.
Yeah, he's doing it as if it was one of his cameos in his movie. And if you don't realize that, it's okay. They've got the theme song to the Alfred Hitchcock show playing. So if you don't notice him, then you could at least notice the music. It's extremely on the head. And you know what? You know who I hate? People who get out of limos or taxis and don't close the door after them when they get out. Because Jessica does that immediately at the beginning of this episode. And I'm like, you bitch. You can't do that. Anyway.
Well, when she's walking through the studio or outside, but you know she's walking to whatever building, and you see people dressed up in like cowboys, Indians. You know, you gotta push that.
Yeah,
and you see somebody dressed up like as a Cyberman. It's funny.
And you're not kidding. It really is not a Cyberman, but it looks like something out of Battlestar Galactica.
It's a Cylon, but the outfit. I mean, outside of the mask, it looks like somebody stole something, a prop from the BBC.
Yeah,
it's such a bad looking Cylon too. I don't know if you remember the show. I mean, and this looks like something. This looks like a mask you would buy at one of those Halloween stores that only open up for a month.
Halloween Spirit Halloween.
Spirits, yeah. It looks like a mask from that, not the actual. Now it's on the studio lot, the Universal lot, which did Battlestar Galactica. They had, I would think, access to the original outfits. I mean, it looks so bad. It does. It looks like something that's made out of plastic. It looks horrible.
We're recording this in early November. Are those Spirit Halloween stores, they still open right now? Because
I haven't seen them.
If you ever want to feel poor, you go to a Spirit Halloween store and you realize then that your neighbor down the street paid $300 to get an animatronic skeleton for their front yard, and you're like, I wouldn't fucking pay for that. Who's gonna buy this? Who's gonna buy it? Anyway,
someone does.
Yeah, but it's a great shop to go to. We always go. We didn't go last year because of COVID, but I don't think they were open last year. But we haven't gone this year. But I remember it's a great store to bring kids to. It's also a great store to bring somebody who may be visiting from out of the country to show them what Halloween is like. I don't know why I'm talking about this.
You know who used to own those stores? They may still own them, but that store is owned, or used to be owned by Universal.
Really?
Funny enough, yeah.
Huh.
When I worked for Universal, that was one of the companies, because you could go to certain locations and get discounts because they were all owned by the same, and Spirits was one of them. Fortunately, it wasn't a liquor store. Otherwise, I'd be there all the time.
So Jessica goes to Hollywood. They're making and we meet all the I'm just going to call them the suspects. We have Daryl Liebman. I thought he was the producer.
No, Hayward. No, Daryl Hayward is the producer.
Why did I write down Liebman?
I have no idea. I don't know who that is.
Maybe that's the actor's name. Okay.
Maybe, but yeah, Hayward is the producer. She goes to meet him, and in his office, they meet John Cavershaw. I think he's the script doctor.
Yeah.
Cavershaw.
Willie Montego, the agent. So basically, I'm like, okay, these are all suspects, and I'm going to be completely honest with you there, Steve. I thought that John just screamed out murderer to me, and I think it might be because he looks like my old boss, Ted Lorenz, of Lorenz and Lorenz here in Austin.
So you hated him, huh?
I just got to add something. Okay, wait. I just have to mention this. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, the actor who plays John, he looked familiar. Was he in any Columbo episodes?
I looked him up, and no, he is not in anything.
He just looks like he'd be in the later, the late episodes for some reason. I don't know.
But let me tell you, the 80s episodes that we've watched so far. This is the first episode, I think, that was in the 90s. Mm-hmm. This episode just screams 1992, which was when it was released.
Oh,
the fashions, everything about it is just so 1992, and we have like a weird introduction to the actress who's going to be in Jessica's movie. Her name is
Lenora
Holt.
Yeah,
and she's introduced by throwing bottles at Daryl.
I mean, who's going to clean that up? Holy shit! I guess they got servants, but she's trying to kill Daryl because she's going to star in the movie that is based off Jessica's book, and I guess she finds out that another actor is going to co-star. I'm not real sure.
Yeah,
Kevin
Maxwell, who we never meet. I wrote his name down. I thought we would meet him. She doesn't like him, but he is going to be in the movie, but she doesn't know it. But Daryl knows it. And so I guess that's her motive for murder. We have a number of motives for murder.
They start piling up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's why I thought it was
yeah.
John Cavenshaw, the script doctor, because he seemed like kind of innocent.
Normal.
And normal, like, oh, why would he... him and the secretary, or private assistant,
the secretary was my primary suspect in this
Really?
one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Because she just knew everything. And
Yeah.
What you're going to find out is that Daryl does a lot of backstabbing. And I figure they're just setting everybody up. But she knows about all the backstabbing. And she could probably, if she wanted to, kill him. And then she would have like 10 people. She could say, well, he had a reason. He had a motive. She had a motive. Oh, and that one over there had a motive. I mean,
you have a motive, and you have a motive, and you have a motive, and you have a motive.
You have a motive? You have a motive? But yeah, Lenora she was a little crazy. I think she may have been bipolar. I'm not real sure.
Yeah, there is...
On Xanax. I'm not real sure.
Yeah, and folks, there's nothing wrong with being bipolar, but just say... And you don't take Xanax if you're bipolar. You take Xanax if you have anxiety. Just saying.
Okay.
Because I take it. It's really good with white wine. No, don't people.
Oh,
Don't
God.
take Xanax and drink. Don't take Xanax and drink, ladies and gentlemen. So then also, Daryl is having an affair with a lady named Monica Chase. I just wrote down next to her, token femme fatale. She lives in a big...
Oh, yeah.
She lives in a big mansion, like in Malibu or something, and her husband's all away all the time. So he just goes over there and presumably fucks her. And, because he's so hot.
He gets a quick nooner from her at one point. And it's
as
interesting because he breaks up. He does break up with her. Well, makes her a suspect, but he breaks up with her. Basically, you find out that he's probably having an afternoon delight with her, and it's because that her husband is financing him, and so now that he's got the money, he doesn't need her anymore. And I think it's interesting. One of the things Daryl says about the reason for the breakup is like, look, you're married, you got kids, it's complicated. I'm like, where are the kids? You never see the kids.
Yeah, where are the kids?
Where are the kids?
Yeah. What are they, up there upstairs with Mrs. Pattimore, the nanny? Where? Yeah, I don't know. You don't look, yeah.
But she was, There's a scene where she comes out of the pool. It's, very soft porn.
Yeah, it's very soft porn, introductory soft porn, very much so.
But by the way, so before that happens though, there's a scene where John, the script doctor, and Jessica go to have lunch at the commissary, and it's just going to be another Columbo / Psycho connection to me, but I'm pretty sure that's the same commissary or / restaurant that was used in Bye Bye Sky High in Columbo, where we see Jamie Lee Curtis as the waitress. Because it's all that glass. It looks like the same place to me.
Possibly, maybe. They're not that far apart when you think about it. There's something about, and you see they did this in Columbo. They do this in movies. Whenever there's a movie studio, we see people walking around in the background like, we're in the commissary, and right at the next table there's a surgeon having lunch with Mozart.
Right.
Just people in costumes. I'm not sure because I've never been there, but I kind of think it's not like that.
I wouldn't think so. Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't. I've never been either. But yeah, so John wants to. He's wanting to talk to Jessica about changing up the script. Now, admittedly, he says at the beginning, "Oh no, I won't be doing many changes." But fact is that he has a lot of changes in mind. And he tells her during lunch, like, "Oh yeah, you gotta have more explosions. You gotta have car chases." I don't know if he said sex, but I'm pretty sure he would add some sex scenes in there.
Yeah, we're gonna have 2 or 3 more murders.
Right?
And as he's
going to change the killer.
Yeah,
he's going to change the killer.
She's horrified.
And Jessica's like, Jessica's not happy at all about that. So she does ask Daryl, like, can you get rid of him?
Yeah.
So he puts him on the list of suspects.
There is a
eventual suspects. He's still alive at this point. So
there is a great movie called Ed Wood that is based on actual effects or actual events. And Ed Wood was this really B movie maker. He made Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is a terrible movie, but he was really passionate about filmmaking. And at one time, he didn't have any investors. So, and this is in the movie, and this is a real thing too. At one point, he had to go. He got an investment from, I think it was a guy who was the head of a butcher company, a meat packing plant or something, who said, if I'll give you money if you and the crew all get baptized, and if the movie ends with a big explosion. And I think that movie was Bride of the Monster, and that's how it ends. And they all got baptized. And it's a great movie, by the way.
I vaguely remember that movie. I did see that with Johnny Depp.
Yeah. That's Johnny Depp's best role. I mean, that's Johnny Depp with Tim Burton, where you know,
that's right. Tim Burton did that.
Yeah, Tim Burton, of course, does a lot of Johnny Depp shit because but this is the best Johnny Depp Tim Burton pairing. I'm sorry, I'm good. By the way, if blink and you'll miss it, there is somebody using a cell phone in this. When Jessica
is it one of those bricks?
Yes. Yeah. It's when Jessica meets what's the guy's name? Ben Miller, who's head of production. I don't know what the fuck that means. That should be like the boss, the producer, but he's just called a head of production. There is a gentleman sitting at a table using a cell phone.
That's very, very early 90s.
Yeah.
We do get to see Harry Gibson. He's hanging outside, by the way, Universal Studios, and he's trying to sneak in. We don't know why he's trying to sneak in or anything, but it's just very suspicious.
Oh wait, I gotta add something about that, and be ready to take a shot. By the way, Henry Gibson was in a movie I just saw, and that it was recently uploaded anyway, in a movie called Nashville, where he was excellent. Came out in 1975, and he was also in a movie called The Blues Brothers, where he played a Nazi.
Right. Yes.
I've always loved you. That part. And Steve, I'm putting this out on the floor right now because I'm going to put it out on the floor for you later on. I have never seen The Blues Brothers.
I've seen it, but it was so long ago, Sean. I was probably in high school.
Really?
Very vague memories. I mean, I remember the chase scenes. Wait a minute, did they use? They did use the Blues Brothers movies in the episode on the flight, A Corpse That Flew First Class, because remember that was playing as the in-flight film.
Really?
Blues Brothers.
It was?
Don't you remember? Yeah, it was
remember,
with Schneider.
I remember.
And Schneider's like, "Oh, I love this film," and
Jessica's like, "Well, I'm having
Jessica takes off her headset." Yeah,
I didn't know that was the Blues Brothers. See, and
I thought you brought that up, but
I did not. I've never seen the movie all the way through. I've seen snippets here and there, and I feel ashamed because I grew up in Chicago, and that movie, much like Wayne's World, is a Chicago icon, or Ferris Bueller's Day Off it's like totally highlights Chicago. So I'm ashamed to say that, but yeah, I've never seen the Blues Brothers. So, but if you want to send me a Blu-ray copy of it, send it to 5205 blah 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 blah, and I'll be happy to watch it.
Was that blah blah or blah blah blah?
I don't want to give the readers my address because they'll show up.
Because people will mail you human feces in a box, I'm sure.
Yeah, like in Pink Flamingos. That's a movie.
So Jessica meets Ben, and he's going to show her around. Now, so, he's going to give her a private studio tour. Now, the actor who plays Ben Miller, I didn't find him very believable in his role.
Neither did
you?
I. No, I thought he was a terrible actor. I also thought that he kind of had a thing.
Well, it wasn't his acting. It wasn't his acting. It was his character that I didn't find believable.
Oh, well, he's getting laid off basically because Daryl's like, "I'm going to lay you off," and he's like, "Well, you wrote me out." Blah blah. That's his motive basically. And
right. But no, he says something earlier that I don't know. I just find hard to believe.
What is it?
You know I'm setting you up, but
Okay.
So he said he worked for Universal for 40 years. That I don't believe. Nobody works for that company that long.
Yeah. Well, maybe if he's like 60 and he started working for Universal when he was 20.
No, they burn through people like crazy. I know. I know, Sean. Nobody works for the company that long. I'm surprised he didn't get laid off sooner, to be quite honest.
And
Because they're going to hire somebody younger and somebody cheaper. This is how Universal has always operated. Just saying.
Okay. Well,
I know from experience.
All right. Well, we've now trashed
Not bitter or
both of
anything.
our former bosses. Okay. So he takes her on a tour of the set, and apparently there is, I don't know what the fuck kind of movie they're making. It's like there's punks doing a Western.
Oh, you got to sleep with people, too. Oh, I'm sorry. Go on. I'm coming back with bad memories.
There was punks doing a Western, and I just thought of the class of 1984, is it, that we watched?
Right.
Or the other?
Yeah, with Rodney McDowell. Yeah.
Yeah.
You thought of that?
Yeah. I don't know why, but whenever
that's a good movie, but I don't I don't know why. I thought it was some unreleased Mad Max film, but okay.
And Jessica, by the way, is wearing those glasses that they had back in the day that, they're regular glasses when you're indoors, but if you go outside, they turn into sunglasses. Do you remember those?
Oh, cool,
I had
they
those
never
as a
worked.
kid. Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I had them, and then they just don't work. I mean, they would turn dark when you go inside, and they would go clear when you go outside. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know. Maybe that technology improved over time, but...
I just have a question. Why is Jessica there? I mean, when they make a Stephen King movie, do they bring Stephen King over and they say, hey, Stephen, hang out here for like a week?
Well, I don't
have
know
a lot
how
of
big
input.
Jessica is. JB is not as big as Stephen King, okay? I mean...
I don't know there. I don't know. I'm going to have to disagree with you on that. Anyway.
So,
Stephen King is too big for that. Stephen King, no, give me the money. I'm here in Bangor, Maine. I'm just going to take the money, and I'm here writing a book. It'll be done in a week, and then I'll have another book after that.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about Hollywood. He's not, he's not up in... No. Anyway, except for Maximum Overdrive. You ever see Maximum Overdrive?
Never saw that, no.
It's got the greatest opening ever. Maximum Overdrive is about how the machines take over and they go against the human beings. Like a steamroller would, pull you over. And so the movie
like
opens
a sequel
up.
to Carrie? I mean, what are we talking about?
No, that's not what Carrie's about, Steve. But the
not Carrie, Christine. I'm sorry, Christine.
Oh, yeah, Christine. Yeah, very good. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, got my names messed up.
But the movie opens up with Stephen King at an ATM, and he puts his card in, and it calls him an ass. It says, like, you don't have any money, asshole. And he's going, Tabitha, this machine just called me an asshole.
I thought he was going to say, how did it know that I'm an asshole?
It's a great opening to a really bad movie directed by Stephen King.
There was a movie where he does a cameo. It's like one of those anthology movies.
Creepshow.
I cannot remember the name of it. Huh?
Creepshow.
Where he turns into the plant and
yeah, that's
blows
him.
his head off with a shotgun.
Meteor
Yeah, I know it's
shit.
him, but I just can't remember.
He is surprisingly good in front of the camera, which I wouldn't expect. But I think that may be the only thing he's ever acted in. I think he has little cameos in some of the movies that were based on his books, but.
Well, Part 2 he was in most recently.
He was?
Yeah, he was the one that sold the bicycle back to the adult version of.
Bill.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bill.
Yeah. Huh? I don't remember that. I'm
Yeah,
sure
he's a
because I saw
shopkeeper.
that. I'm sure when we were. Oh yes, that's right. When you say shopkeeper, I get it. Yes, I'm sure at the time we were like, "That's Stephen King. It's Stephen King." Just like back in the day when people started watching Marvel movies, that's Stan Lee. Because remember, Stan Lee would make a cameo in every fucking one of those.
Wow, he's dead now. Sean.
Yeah. Well, no, it's nothing against Stan Lee. I'm just the Marvel movies. It's just like, everything I hate about Hollywood is the Marvel movies. It's just fucking.
I agree. I actually agree with you. I'm over the comic book movies. I really am. There's a few that come out that perk my interest, but I'm kind of done with them. I've been done with them for the past 5 years. I just after the last Avengers movie, I kind of stopped. I just didn't care anymore.
Yeah, I tried too. I really tried. I tried watching them in chronological order. That is, like when they were set, which would be Captain America, then Captain Marvel, and then blah, blah, blah. I didn't make it past Captain Marvel. I couldn't watch Captain Marvel. Terrible. Yeah.
Oh, so, okay. So, go ahead. I was about to get us back on track, but
yeah, no, I was too. I was going to talk about a certain movie called Psycho, which is brought up repeatedly in this episode.
Yes. Well, before we get there, I want to bring up there is a point or part where Ben, when he's taking Jessica on the tour, and before he takes her to the Psycho house, he asks her a very metaphysical question: do you believe in evil? And I thought, are we about to watch an episode of In Search Of? I don't know if you remember that show.
Do you believe in
Love
evil?
That show.
I think evil exists.
In some worlds, evil exists.
I have never seen an episode of In Search Of. I've heard people talk about it. Yeah. I've heard like Jim Carroll and all that.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I know it's Leonard Nimoy. Yeah.
Yes, he narrated it. There's like an episode he did on Bigfoot. Man, it still holds up to this day. It's really good. I highly recommend it. Yeah, it's on YouTube, so not like you're going to watch it now.
No,
because I always have these suggestions for you. And next time I talk to you, so did you watch that link I sent to you? No.
No, it's the same.
You never watch anything I send you.
No, it's the same thing with you. I sent you a video of the cat getting eaten by the blob from Beware the Blob, directed by Larry Hagman.
Why would I want to watch that?
Because it's hilarious.
Well, you did? You sent that to me? No,
I did.
I did.
It's hilarious. And I know, like, okay, we don't like seeing animals harmed in movies, but trust me, it's hilarious. It's really funny.
Okay. Yeah, you sent it to me yesterday. You make it sound like you sent it to me like a week ago.
Or okay. So you don't watch...
I'll watch that. I will watch that. Yeah.
It's 41 seconds. I don't want to take up too much of your time there, Steve. But, yeah. So,
busy person.
For those in the know, the Psycho House, which rests on the Universal... This bugged the shit out of me, and I have to mention it. It's there. It's on the Universal lot. Apparently it has cobwebs all over it. It's that's cotton candy. That's cotton candy.
Cotton candy everywhere. It's like walking onto the horror scene of a Willy Wonka film or something. I don't know. You can eat everything. Candy. You can eat the railing by the stairs. You can eat the
I thought you were doing
webs.
See, I thought that was a Murder by Death reference, but okay. These cobwebs.
Oh right, yes,
candy.
That's right. That was in Murder by Death. That's right.
Now, people, I don't know.
This mouse here, it's just a wind-up mechanical. Ah! It's a real mouse.
Real. Oh, the doorbell. Okay, now this house. Okay, the Psycho house. It's on Universal lot. It's not a fucking house. I don't know why they did this. I really think that they just this is so dumb. And it makes us think that the Psycho house on the Universal lot is an actual house. It's not. It's a very finely constructed facade. All right? There's no house in there. And this makes it look like that. And that drove me crazy. And I was kind of like, oh my God, people are going to watch this and they're going to think that it was really filmed in there, in the house? No, sir, no. And also, there's a scene later on where Jessica's in her hotel room and she watches Martin Balsam get killed in Psycho. She sees the scene, which is badly timed, by the way. They had the sound off. Just in case people haven't seen Psycho. And Steve, I don't think you've seen Psycho. Is that correct?
That's correct. But I know like the big scenes, like the shower, the turning the chair around to see the mother.
Yeah.
peeking through the holes in the wall, that stuff.
So,
but I've not seen it. No, I've not seen it from opening to end.
And I'm pretty sure on the Universal lot there is not an actual hotel next to the Psycho house.
Where would that be?
In the movie Psycho, it's there, but of course, that's not a thing. This isn't a thing. Stop trying to tell people this is a thing. It drove me batshit knockers. Wow. Knockers or wonkers? Anyways, yeah. So, we still haven't gotten to the death, by the way.
No, we won't for a while.
It takes a while for someone to die in this.
Yeah, the only thing that Jessica notices, and it's kind of a clue, is that Jessica, as she's talking to Ben outside the Psycho house, she sees movement in the window, and she just kind of recognizes it, but kind of dismisses it as just her imagination. Surely there's nobody in the house. So,
right.
But Ben doesn't have keys to the house, which I find funny. Like, why, whatever. So he's going to have to show it to her tomorrow. And so they postponed their little Psycho house tour.
But however, the person apparently in the house, which of course is Oliver, played by Henry Gibson, he has keys, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Or breaks in. I don't know.
So, yeah. So you're waiting for someone to die. And you kind of know when it's coming, and that's when Jessica is in the Psycho house. Is she with Ben? I can't remember.
No. So, first Jessica meets Lenora, who we found out is going to play her, and that this book that they're making into a film is based off a true story. I was going to ask you, from what is said in this episode, is that an actual episode?
I don't know.
Of Murder, She Wrote? Okay.
I do not know. I don't know.
But Lenore's like real excited to be playing Jessica, and she's like, I gotta learn to dress like you, I gotta learn to talk like you, and then she starts like speaking in weird slang from the 20s. Like I don't know where that came from. She's gotta learn how to do karate. Oh, and she's gotta learn how to type.
Yeah.
If you ever watch the intro to the show, you're gonna have to learn how to type.
Yeah, you're gonna. And karate, that opening scene where Jessica does karate in the intro? Yeah, that's a thing. She's so dumb. I can't stand. She's like if you were okay. This character would be like a villain in Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? A villain who's an actress. Like, Audrey the actress, where can you find her? She was last seen in Rome. Where is she headed next? Do you ever see that show for kids? The game show?
I know what
it
is, but
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
I was in college.
So was I. But I
didn't watch children's programming on PBS.
It was still
sorry.
It was a good show. It was a good show, Steve.
Okay.
I you know what? I challenge you. I lay down the gauntlet. And I challenge you, if there's a big, huge map of Africa, and I say a country name, that you could pick out the country on that map. If I said, Namibia, could you find Namibia? No, I bet you couldn't. I couldn't.
Could you?
No, I couldn't. The kids in the show could, though.
I'm sure they probably prepped those kids like, okay, we're going to be discussing the continent of Africa.
No.
Why don't you study that map, and you're going to be quizzed on it?
No, sir.
I don't know.
Sir, no. No, sir. No, I think that is cashola right there, what you're talking about. That's payola. That's quiz show shit. No, I'm sure they had, game shows, they got to be on the up and up. They can't prep their contestants ahead of time. Reality TV is a different thing, but anyway.
So, we jump to the evening, and what happens? So Monica pulls up next to Daryl. He's getting ready to leave for the night. He's been busy doing God knows what. But she comes up, and she's basically threatening him. Like, how dare you dump me? I'm going to make you suffer. Whatever. And this is all being overheard by the secretary, which I can't think of her name.
I wrote it down. Carolyn Price. Carolyn.
And this at this point, this is when I thought, oh, I think Carolyn's going to be the killer.
No. Oh, Carolyn. Yes. I kind of thought it might be her as well because she was kind of
she sees all this. Yeah, because she knows his business. Carolyn's the what do you call it? Personal assistant.
Yeah.
So she probably knows all about him more than anybody else.
You know what? I bet you that she was sick and tired of him like grabbing her ass and stuff, and so she killed him because of that, which is an actual motive for murder later on in the show, but we may or may not get to that, but I'm just saying. But yeah, Monica, it's like Monica is not the murderer. I mean, it's just too obvious. In fact, who the murderer is just too obvious. Let me say that.
Well, let's go down the list. So the next day, Daryl fires Bill because he's wanting to get young blood into the studio, or I don't know why, I can't remember. But he fires Bill. And then at lunch, you see Daryl and Willie, his agent, seem to be, I don't know, not too happy with one another. You don't know why. Maybe it's a disagreement. They're at the commissary again. A lot of scenes take place there. But something happened where they're not happy. And then I think Willie asks him to reconsider his decision.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what you find out later is that he fired him. So, you know, like the list of possible killer suspects is growing and growing and growing. I mean, he's pissing off everybody.
And it's now at the point where it's like, Daryl, when are you going to die? Daryl, it's like halfway through the episode, Daryl. When are you going to die? What are you going to die?
It's about 20 minutes. It's about 20 minutes in. Yeah. We finally see his body. Yeah.
Yeah. And also in that scene with his agent Willie, when Jessica walks in, it's a crowded restaurant, but there's Henry Gibson as Oliver at the table next to them, and he's got like a menu over his face, like so dumb.
It was so obvious. He sticks out. Like you see it. He's off in the corner of the scene, but you just... Why is the guy holding a menu up to his face like that? And he puts the menu down, and you're like, oh.
Why was he there, and why was he, like, hiding?
Because he's hungry. He's got to get something to eat.
He mentions that
hungry.
Later on. Yeah. But why would he want to hide at this point? Nobody's going to know him. No, it's like... and this isn't a commissary. This is an actual restaurant, not a commissary. A commissary has long tables, and this is a proper restaurant, I think. But yeah,
well, he is stalking Lenore. We find out later, so maybe he's trying to not be seen by her. I don't know, but she doesn't recognize him later. I don't know. That's weird. Yeah, why is he hiding?
Because he's a lunatic. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
But yeah, so Jessica goes. Oh, so Daryl says, Ben's not here anymore. He doesn't really explain why, and she says, well, he was going to show me around the Psycho house, and he goes, oh, I'll finish the tour for you, so I'll meet you there after lunch. So she goes into the Psycho house. Door's unlocked, and she discovers his body.
Okay, good. Yes.
Yeah. Fine.
And the cops are called, etc., etc. Something really bothered me here. I wanted, to solve a murder, you have to have motive, opportunity, and means. And it would have been really nice to know how he was killed at not the beginning, but when his body was found. We find out later on he was bludgeoned with a wrench, but we don't know that after the body is found. And the lieutenant who's heading the investigation of the murder is a Lieutenant Hanoran. Okay. So this role is played by a guy named Ron Glass, who you may or may not know from a little show called Firefly. You know that show?
Never watched it, but yeah, I know of it.
I never watched it either, but like everybody loves it, and it's like I got to get in on this Firefly thing. And I watched the movie, and I'm like, I don't get it. What is it, Serendipity or Serenity? And I don't get it. He was also on Barney Miller back in the day.
Yes, I could not. Okay, I knew. I recognized him, but yeah, Barney Miller. He played.
You know who I'm talking about. Right. My mom used to watch that show. I haven't seen it in so long, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. Maybe it's on Amazon. There's shows on Amazon. I was so thrilled when I found out that Amazon Prime had like old TV shows. Taxi. I remember Taxi, and with Danny DeVito and Judd Hirsch,
Christopher Lloyd,
Christopher Lloyd, yeah,
Tony Danza, Tony Danza,
and who played Lotka? I can't remember that actor's name.
Oh, that's it's killing me.
It's killing me too. It's Andy.
And
no,
you're right.
Andy Kaufman.
Kaufman, yeah.
They made a movie.
Which,
about
by the
him.
way, with Jim Carrey. I have a theory about Andy Kaufman. Just I'll briefly cover it, but I don't think he actually died of cancer. I'm sure you've seen the film, but I think he faked his death. And there are some videos on YouTube that kind of explain that theory, and because I think he shows up later, like about 10 years ago from now, he shows up as Andy Kaufman's twin brother. So it looks just like him. Same mannerisms, and when other actors view the video that he supposedly his twin brother showed up to talk about Andy Kaufman like in interviews, they're like, "That's Andy."
Really?
Yeah. It was when his daughter, Andy Kaufman's daughter, showed up for the claim inheritance or something like that, and it was her uncle, and it looks just like Andy Kaufman, except he shaved his head and put on a mustache, but it looks just like him, and it's so creepy. And I think no one said, I don't think Andy Kaufman had a brother. He never spoke of him, but this guy looks like Andy, but just older and no hair.
I'm gonna have to look into that. There.
Yeah, look it up. Huh. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, he may be dead now. Died of old age, but I think he faked his own death just to be a funny. And a lot of people have said that, like, that would be something Andy would do. He would think it would be the funniest joke, only to him though. But it would be the funniest joke in the world.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Huh. Okay.
But so with the lieutenant, I thought he was funny. I almost felt like he was a play on Columbo, because at one point he goes, "Oh no!" The secretary tells the lieutenant, like, "Hey, I think I know who may have killed Daryl," and so he talks about Monica, the one he's having a extramarital relationship with. And so the lieutenant goes and interviews her, and as he's walking out, he goes, "Oh, just one more thing. Where were you at between 2 and 3? What?"
I did not catch that. I did not catch that. Yeah. And
then I think he says at the end, "I'll be seeing you." It seems like something.
No, he says, "Be seeing you," which is what they would always say in The Prisoner. With Patrick McGowan, be seeing you. Which Patrick McGowan says in Columbo, the first time, I think he's the first time he's on Columbo, be seeing you. It's a great show, that Prisoner. I only watched one episode, and I was like, I gotta fucking watch the rest of this. And then I started drinking, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. So I think it's important to add that there is a blood stain. There's blood on the floor by the murder. We don't know how Daryl was killed. They don't say that, as I mentioned. He's just dead, and there's a blood smear on the floor. Like, there's some blood, and it looks like somebody walked through it or something. And spoiler,
I had a problem with that.
Yeah, don't get me started. The killer is in the next scene with Jessica, and whenever somebody says, "I need to lie down," in Murder, She Wrote, and we have a big shot of him putting his shoes up on the table, put a pin in that, because that's a clue.
And the camera zooms in on the bottom of his shoes. Yeah, there's something going on there. Well, what I had a problem with, I don't like murder mysteries when we're not given the clues.
Yeah.
Or if they're being withheld from us. So, for example, in this case, Jessica sees things. When the lieutenant shows up at the psycho house and they see the body and they're collecting evidence, Jessica says, "Oh, I noticed this, I noticed that," and she says, "Hey, did you see this here?" He said, "Why would you think the blood would be smeared?" And the lieutenant gives his impressions. She goes, "No, I don't think so." And then she gets interrupted. So there's stuff that's being withheld from us.
Yeah.
That Jessica sees. It would really help us understand, more about how he was murdered.
Yeah,
well, that's kept from us.
It cheats. This episode actually cheats. And later on, when she explains the solution, we see scenes that we were not privy to before. She's talking to the lieutenant, and it's like, hey, I feel like Truman Capote at the end of Murder by Death. You cheated
right.
us. You introduced character at the last minute. But
introduce evidence in the last chapter of the book.
Yeah. But by the way, the murderer is Willie. And if you didn't figure out by the shoes, he's got one clean shoe, one dirty shoe, and the camera tells you that it's like, hey, this is a Chloe, hello, we want you to know, we want you to see his shoes. But then again, old people probably wouldn't pick up on that, which is probably the only people watching this show at the time that it was aired.
Yeah.
So,
well, we also find out that Jessica is interviewing Willie. Oh, with her sidekick Lenora, who's I guess pretending to be Jessica, and it's really awkward. I mean, it's played for laughs. It's not poorly acted. It's intentionally bad. So Lenora's like speaking in moxie and like, listen, see, you make sure you get your I don't know. I can't do it, but it's bad. And even
you know how to whistle, don't you? Just call me by giving a whistle, and I'm
put your lips together and blow. No, she didn't say that. And so the way they lead up to it, because like you said, it is Willie, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah,
but Jessica even says, "Oh, well, it's a shame, that you were the last person to see." Daryl alive, right? Because and he goes, yes, I was the last person to see him at the commissary, yes, or whatever. So you're like, that's a very specific way to put that.
Yeah, like, hello, hi, I might be the murderer.
Well, and he even says, yeah, we were there, we were having lunch, and we were celebrating the renewing our contract together. And I'm sure all of us were thinking back to that scene where obviously he looked very upset. It didn't look like they were celebrating shit.
Yeah. In fact, they looked like they were arguing. And I think he said something to that effect.
Yeah.
A cut to Jessica in her spacious suite at the Ramada Inn.
With a pink tile in the bathroom? I mean, good God.
She's watching...
Did she pay by the hour? I mean, what kind of room is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there's blood and cum on the carpet. Come on.
Oh, Jesus, Steve. This is a Murder, She Wrote podcast, okay?
Oh, sorry.
There are elderly people and children listening to this. But she just happens, I'm going to watch TV, and, there's news about the murder, and then I'm going to watch a fucking...
Do you know, whenever I go to a hotel room, and when we would do cons together, I would never go barefoot in those rooms. I would have to be either wearing slippers or socks. I refuse to walk on those carpets barefoot. I bet you those things were never cleaned.
I don't really give a shit. I'll walk barefoot in them.
Really?
Yeah, the only thing
I would bleach wipe those toilet seats. Oh my God, those are gross.
See, my ass, I don't really. My ass cheeks, like, I'm not eating. They're not chopsticks, they're not a fork. So
what?
I don't. If there's food on them, or I'm sorry, if there's bacteria on
asshole, I mean,
there's more bacteria probably in my hands than on my ass cheeks. So.
Oh well, like they said, I don't know if this is still a thing, but I remember hearing, or I think 60 Minutes did a what's the dirtiest thing in a hotel room, and it was the TV remote. It was covered in staph and urine and cum and blood and the rooms are just covered in blood and cum. I mean, it's just everywhere.
And the chair at the desk, in case you're thinking of working, with your laptop.
Full of shit.
Yeah, it's full of shit because guys, when they travel, they're stressed out. They're traveling to, Lubbock or whatever, and it's like, okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the computer in, and I'm going to jerk off.
Sit naked.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, I guess you would be naked for that.
And if you want to, here's a fun thing. Well, one time when we went to a con in L.A., you and I were sharing a room. I returned to the room midday, as I often do, because those cons are really crowded, and I don't like all those people. The maid had placed a towel on the chair. Oh. As if to say, if you're going to do this again, put a towel on it.
What? Did not.
That's a true story, yes. I told you this before.
You did not. No, you didn't.
Well, I didn't.
Sean, I could have been sitting in that chair.
Whatever. I don't really care. I really don't mind. I know that people have had sex in this room before. I know that there's probably been semen on the or shit or vomit or urine on the sheets before. I just don't. I put it out of sight, out of mind. Do you know, in my house...
Wait, which one was this? Which con was this?
It was the Gallifrey one, Doctor Who. It was...
my God.
We were in the Marriott.
Right. Okay. That one. All right.
Not the one down the on the other side of the block.
Right.
That was
a good room. Yeah,
that was a good room, but you had to walk still.
They had the best. They had the best breakfast.
Oh man, yes.
Do you remember that?
People, yes, yeah. My entire if you are a hotel and you say, hey, we'll have breakfast in the morning, just come on down, and you go down there and there's powdered eggs and what looks like 2-week-old sausage patties. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Just fuck you.
Or a Danish
but that place,
and an orange.
Yeah. But this place, that I remember, they had real breakfast. They had real eggs.
Yeah. You could get omelets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When I used to travel for business, I would when you'd select the hotel you would stay in, and I would purposely. I could care less about the beds or anything as long as they had a really fantastic breakfast buffet thing going. Like we could get some delicious morning potatoes, eggs Benedict, pancakes, waffles. That what sold it. If I had all these rooms and I had a budget, right? I mean, I would look for what was in the budget, but I would pick the most expensive with that meal, right? It was just the most important thing to me, was that breakfast.
Yeah. Oh, God,
because that would be the reason I would wake up in the morning. Otherwise, I'd just be laying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering what was so sticky under the sheets. I mean, that's...
I actually stopped. I use Marriott, and I stopped using Marriott for food, and I started using Uber Eats, and just having somebody bring McDonald's to me, and I would order it the night before. And then, at 7:30, a guy would show up at my hotel room with McDonald's. I'm like, oh my God, this is better than sex. Somebody could show up at my hotel room, and I could sit here.
I'm sure you take that challenge too. Better than sex.
Okay. All right. Well, whatever.
Jack off on the chair here. Where were we?
So Jessica in her hotel room. Yeah. Which is not.
So she watches.
It's not a fucking
she's
hotel
watching news
room like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, she's not doing that. I hope not. I'm pretty sure she's not. But she goes in to watch the news, like any elderly woman, I guess, does. And she changes the channel, and she's watching Psycho.
Oh my gosh! Gosh darn it!
This happens to be on. It's the scene where the guy falls down the stairs. Now, I thought that was going to be. I was going to produce a clue of some sort. Like, she realized, something that was in that scene wasn't in the house when I went.
Me too. Yeah.
It was going to be utilized. That scene was being, maybe the something creaks when you walk on it. There was going to be a clue in her watching that scene. Nope. Nope, she's just watching it.
Yeah, it's
because they even focus in on her face, like she's like realizing something.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, and it's a preempt to later on when she goes into the house and she finds the murderer, because we have the same shots of her walking up the stairs and all that. And I'm just gonna say, really. Like, you could totally do her walking up the stairs and framing it and pasting it like Martin Balsam does in the movie, and people would get it. Because I think the audience of the Murder, She Wrote audience in 1992, the vast majority of them have seen Psycho. Okay? And I'm talking about old people. All right? It's old people. All right? Not youngsters like us. We weren't watching this back then. But, yeah, so, I don't know what the fuck happens next in this.
So, next, we're back in Daryl's office. Jessica is talking with Lenora, and the secretary comes in, and she goes, "Oh, Jessica, you've got a call from a Dr. Seth Hazlitt." She goes, "Oh, okay, yeah, I need to get with him about, I guess, when his plane's arriving." That's what I think he said, right? But he never arrives.
She's in L.A., and he's picking her up from the airport, I guess, in New York.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought she was picking Seth up because he was going to come visit while they were at the studio.
And that made me question, like, are you going to make Seth drive all the way from Cabot Cove to New York to pick you up at the fucking airport? Take a taxi cab, bitch. But I'm assuming that she has already moved to New York in this story, and based on the titles, I don't know. Don't tweet at me about
Seth
it.
Seth has just been like hanging out at her apartment,
eating donuts and coffee,
naked.
Yeah, basically
waiting for Jessica to show up.
I want to touch on one thing here. Daryl in his office has 3 fish tanks. And
yes, that's right.
They're all next to each other, instead of having one big fish tank, which would be more economical, I think. But
well, maybe he has like some saltwater fish and some,
freshwater fish,
non-salt freshwater. Yeah, maybe
those are all saltwater fish. I actually even know the names of the fish, but that's okay, because in his office we get to meet Oliver Thistle, played by Henry Gibson. He comes in with a gun, like he's gonna shoot
Lenora.
Yeah,
and right before the commercial break, he comes up to her, pointing the gun at her, because he's been hiding in that office, waiting for her to be alone. Jessica leaves, by the way, and he pops out from the curtains and says, "I did it all for you." Commercial break. We come back. He's pointing the gun at her. "I did it all for you."
Yeah.
And so very, very. It's all a misdirection, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
He's just he's the number one fan. He's Lenora's number one fan, and he's returning a movie prop from her first film or some shit like that.
And
but why is he holding it like that? I don't know.
And you know what? I love Angela Lansbury. I think she's done a great job in this role. But it was her entrance into this room and seeing the scene was probably the worst of Angela Lansbury I've seen. It was like
I was really hoping she was going to do some karate to kind of back up that earlier statement from Lenora.
But instead, what she does is she pushes forward a chair that makes him land in it, and somehow they subdue him then. I don't know. So this guy turns out to be, he's like a big, what's her name, fan. I don't have my glasses on, so I forgot her name. Lenora. He's Holtz, a big Lenora. And, he didn't mean to aim the gun at her. He bought it at some sort of, this is so stupid. He bought it at some, like,
auction,
a memorial auction or a flea market or some shit. And he was coming to bring it back to her. All right? And,
what's she gonna want with that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, do I go up to Tom Baker and say, "Hey, here's my scarf that I bought in Britmax, in 1990"?
No,
It'd
it'd be like, "No, Tom, I bought these jelly babies that you used back in 1979. Here you go. I'm giving them back to you." What do you think Tom Baker would do? He'd be like, "Get the fuck out of my face."
This reminds me of Lala. And no, yeah, it's so dumb. It's so stupid. Now, and then cut to, he's in prison. He's not in prison, but he's in police custody, and Angela's talking to him. Not Angela, sorry, Jessica's talking to him. And by the way, he is acting and saying things exactly what like Anthony Perkins did in Psycho. Like, I wouldn't hurt a fly. He's acting like it, like very timid. Yeah, that was done intentionally, and it is so annoying. I'm so sorry, but
I didn't even pick up on that. No.
Yeah, it's so heavy-handed. So they, Lieutenant Hanoran is like, "Okay, we're gonna bring you downtown," and Jessica's like, "No, you have the wrong man." And then let's talk about.
He talks crazy shit. One thing he says, which is a clue. He says, he's been staying at the house this whole time, and that it's an evil place. It's, it talks to me. The house talks to me. And Jessica's like, "What the fuck?" And so he explains that when he was there alone, he heard like a weird. I don't even know. I don't know if I can even imitate the sound he makes, but it's like a moaning and groaning kind of sound.
Yeah. So
so that's a clue.
Yeah,
it's a clue. I know you like clues.
Yeah, I love clues. So
wait, hold on. Jessica does ask him, like, "Did you see anything, or was there anything you noticed, or something to that effect?" And he says, "Yeah, Daryl had some blue paper in his chest pocket, but
no, he didn't. No. Oh wait, maybe he did.
He did." And then the lieutenant was like, "No, we didn't find any paper." But if you were being observant, you would have noticed that the luncheon that Daryl and Willie were having, there was some paper that was blue.
But didn't Willie remove the blue paper right away?
Well, I guess not right away, but I think he went to go wash his shoes and then went to go get the paper. Okay. I'm guessing.
So Jessica's like, "Oh, okay, we have to go talk to Ben Miller." And that kind of, I didn't understand it at first, but that kind of explains the next scene, which is Ben Miller talking to Willie, and he's telling Willie, the house is talking to Jessica. Like, Jessica, if you think someone's the murderer, maybe you should tell the cop, like, instead of, like, inviting them to the psycho house, which isn't really a thing.
Alone.
Yeah, this isn't the way to do this, Jessica. Jessica, no. But she does go to the psycho house alone, and it's all dilapidated.
And this is right. And this is when they do the scene, or the pacing and the scene from the TV show, or the televised psycho film that she watches. So it's set up the same way. She walks up to the stairs, and she looks left, she looks right, and then she decides, "No, I'm not going up there." Okay. So, or does she? No, she does go up there because she checks out. No, she goes to the kitchen and she finds out the water isn't turned on.
Yeah, nobody's turned on the water for months, so the pipes are doing that sound.
Yeah, because Universal didn't pay their bills, and they probably had to lay off a bunch of people to get that water back on.
All right. So she goes to the, I don't know why she does this, but she goes to the hotel, presumably where the film was made, next door to the psycho house, and she turns on the shower. I don't know why because
I don't. No, I guess to see the water running, because that's where Willie went to go to wash his shoes, was in that room.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, all right.
Yeah. See,
And Willie's behind her, and she's like, she knows he's behind him. She goes, I know it's been you, Willie, all the time. And he's like, how did you know? Like, he gives up really easily. I'd be like, no. What are you talking about?
Oh, no, he does. Oh, you can't prove that. That's circumstantial. You can't prove that, But yeah, you find out, which I now we finally get to see the murder. So apparently he and Daryl were having an argument because of the contract. Because finally, he's been representing Daryl for years. He even came out of retirement or some shit. No, he postponed his retirement, and finally, Daryl had gotten this big contract with Universal, make a multi-film contract, and so he was finally going to get a great payday for being Daryl's agent. And that's when Daryl's like, "Nope, see you later, smell you later." And Willie gets pissed, and so he picks up the nearest thing that is laying around. I guess it's that huge plumber's wrench. I mean, the kind that's like 2 feet long.
Yeah,
it's huge. It's just laying around.
It was the wrench from the 1970s Clue game when they had photographs.
Yes, it was. It was. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So he takes a swing at Daryl and kills him. And it's done in a fit of passion. It doesn't, but because Willie's more of a, I would say, what do you call it? He didn't do it on purpose, and he's a very reluctant killer. I would say he didn't mean to do it. Yeah,
it was not premeditated. It was an act of passion. I would say, yeah,
right.
Which sometimes And the episode concludes with her and is it the lieutenant or Ben? Where she's like,
no, it's Ben.
It's Ben. I think I see something in that window. Oh, maybe it's not. And then run credits.
Right. The end.
The end. Okay, Steve. How much are we going to rate this out of?
Well, there was a very specific number that was thrown at us early in this episode, so I decided to go with that. So at one point, Ben is taking Jessica on the studio tour. He talks about, well, did you know how many films were made on the studio from 1913 to 1982? Very specific, by the way. 2,641 movies were filmed. I'm guessing that has to be a real fact, right? It has to be. Would they make that shit up? I don't know.
I don't know.
What would you rate this out of 2,641?
Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
No, you go ahead. Yeah,
all right.
You go first.
I'm going to give this about 992. Welcome to the first episode of Murder, She Wrote that I actually almost hated.
I thought that was last week's.
Yeah, last week's wasn't good either. And I'm not looking forward to whatever is next week's because we have 4 more seasons of what I would call post-Cabot Cove mysteries to do. This is a horrible mystery. It's not good. I mean, they do this thing that I've talked about before in the Columbo Confab podcast where they show you the clue beforehand and it's really obvious, and that would be his shoes. And as well as, he's just too obvious. And when I started watching it before Daryl died, I thought it was going to be John. I thought it was going to be the secretary. And then, we have this, I'm going to lay down on a couch. Look at my shoes. And, okay, that means something. I knew it was a clue, but it didn't register with me. I wasn't, on all cylinders. But the psycho thing was just dumb. It's dumb. You did not have to incorporate psycho. I don't know why they had to make this set in the Psycho set on Universal Studios. I don't know what they were doing. Was there a tie-in somewhere? It's terrible, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It feels awkward. Her watching the movie on TV, like I don't.
That
need
was a
to
really
see-
missed opportunity. I really thought that she was going to recognize something from watching that.
I actually
Like,
thought the same thing. I actually thought the
that
same
sound
thing.
should have come from that location. So the killer must have been in that room, or I don't know, something. But no,
And it's like, whoa, look at this. We have the Psycho set. Blah 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 blah. It's not real. It's not real. It really bothered me. This is the worst episode we watched so far. I did not like it at all. And I think that the murderer was too obvious because we've got a great list of suspects from the beginning. But it turns out, I thought it was John. I thought it was the secretary. No, it's Willie. And I kind of thought that, after a while. But yeah, this episode, and it's okay. The victim dies like halfway into the episode,
right? I didn't like that either.
And if it was a good episode and that happened and it was well written and there was good writing, like I feel like that wouldn't be a problem. Like there are probably other episodes like that, but this is not an episode where the asshole dies halfway through, and he was an asshole. And it's like every scene up until his death, it's like, okay, victim, murder victim, murder victim, murder victim.
How many people are we How many people are going to want to kill you by halfway through this episode? I mean, everybody wanted him dead. He was just that big of a jerk.
And that is so ham-fisted and sloppy. So, yeah, that's what I give it. What did I give it? An 85?
992.
Okay.
992, yeah. I agree with you. It was fun that we get to see the Psycho House and they incorporated that into the episode, but it was done poorly. It could have. There were so many opportunities. I felt like that could have been so awesome. We already discussed why I feel that way, but and I do kind of wish if you're going to throw in just a random plot device for that had to incorporate something on Universal City Tours. I really wish they would have brought Bruce the Shark back, Jaws. I wish that would have been used as a murder weapon or something, or the shark eats him. I don't know. That would have been so much more entertaining for me. But c'est la vie, can't do anything about it. But yeah, I didn't like with how the clues were withheld. I felt what Jessica did, towards the end, especially knowing that she was leading the killer to her. I thought that was not very smart of her. I mean, I thought the acting was fine. I liked all the actors; did a great job. I don't have any problems with that. But yeah, it's not a very good episode so far to date. So you gave it 992. Yeah, I guess I'd give it like a 900.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit. I mean, it's some great ideas, but it just doesn't stick.
Yeah, and we've watched some really great episodes. Like I was surprised. We've done what 7 or 8 episodes before this, and I've enjoyed them more or less. This is the first one that I've seen where it's been like, this is not good. This is like, if you're a writer, I don't know if you're everything from like it was just hokey. Like even from the beginning, when we have the credits rolling, and then we see Alfred Hitchcock, and then we get not Alfred Hitchcock, but the guy that looked like Alfred Hitchcock,
right? And
they had the music boom, 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 boom. Give me a break, please. Really?
That didn't bother me so much. Now, doesn't Oliver Thistle come back to Murder, She Wrote, or doesn't? I feel like he's been in other episodes. I have seen scenes of him in other episodes.
I don't know. I think I know which episode that he was in before this, but I don't want to say for sure. I want to say that he was in the episode called "Who Put the Barbiturates in Mrs. Fletcher's Chowder," which is where she has a dinner party and somebody does that. I want to say that's him, but it's I don't think it is. I think it's the guy. I think it's somebody else. But yeah, so I don't know. Not a good episode, folks, and I'm dreading the episodes to come. I mean, you saw the what is it called? The virtual reality episode, right?
Yeah, I had to watch that. I I'm sorry, just that was too tempting.
So, did that episode? Because I haven't seen it. Did that episode have was it as like cheesy as this? Because I thought this was cheesy.
It's probably on the same level.
Okay, all right. So, is it fair to say that Murder, She Wrote jumped the shark around season 8?
I think I need to see more. I mean,
okay,
you know,
I agree.
There could be a couple of bad episodes per season. I mean,
yeah,
it happens.
All right, good. Okay.
So, speaking of, what's on the docket for next week?
All right, Steve. Well, what I want you to do before we decide what's next is I want you to spin that magical wheel and spin it with all your might. Don't burp while you're spinning it, Steve. It's disrespectful. Hold on. Spin it. Hold on. Spin it. Hold on. Don't spin it yet. Don't spin it yet.
Got my arm up. I'm holding it.
And spin it. Now.
Okay.
So we are going to watch episode 16 of season 9, which is called Threshold of Fear.
Sounds cool.
Threshold of Fear. Yeah, that does sound cool. Let me see what the now I look up the short synopsis of stuff.
So we're in for pain or pleasure.
Hold on 1 second.
Maybe it's a episode that
I hope so.
There's Cenobites in it. That'd be awesome.
I hope so, but I don't.
Well,
think
Psycho was in this one.
Happen.
Why not?
That's not going to happen. I don't think they're going to do that, Steve. I hate to disappoint you. All right, so this episode is about not the season that I just okay. This is about this is fantastic podcasting, by the way. Jessica helps a neighbor in her New York building who has a phobia about leaving her apartment since she saw her mother murdered years ago. All right. Well, yeah, sounds good. Well, it's like if you've seen Copycat. Have you seen that movie from the 90s? Sounds like that with Sigourney.
You've never
seen it. Okay, never mind. All right. One thing before we leave, I forgot to do this at the beginning of the production of the beginning of the program right here. We did get a nice mention on Apple Podcasts. Yeah.
That's great. Great podcasting, sir.
Dead air. Okay. All right, we got a mention. We got review. This is by disappointed email user.
I'm getting nervous.
I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means like they tried to email us and they didn't work. But I've checked the email and it's all good. But the review says, "Yay!" And it says, "I could not have been more excited to find out that Steve and Sean were traveling to Cabot Cove. I loved the Columbo confab, and a couple of times they made a comment offhandedly about covering Murder, She Wrote when they were done with Columbo, but I didn't think that would really happen. So excited. They are the
Well, that's
best.
good.
Kind of wish somebody would write something. Yeah, that was very sweet. That's very nice. Thank you. Frustrated with email or I know that it's kind of masturbatory reading out our good comments on the program here.
No.
But even if you have something bad to say and you're still listening to the podcast, if you want to put it out there, that's fine. Like, these people never stick to the point. I want to hear about Murder, She Wrote. I don't want to hear about 1970s horror. Or come on hotel beds or whatever. No, we do it all, people. We do it all. We do it all. We say what you are thinking that you don't want to say.
Probably not.
I think. All right.
Good night.
Well,
Until
say
next
goodnight,
time,
Steve.
Next week, Threshold of Fear, where Jessica meets Pinhead. All right.
Good night. Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Cabot Cove Confab. If you've enjoyed it, please leave us a favorable review on Apple Podcasts. Also, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter at Cabot Cove Confab or email us at cabotcoveconfab@gmail.com.